Hey guys, Big Jim and Big D here with a special dungeon video for you. What we have here for you is one run through of a dungeon with some explanation on some of our choices we make, then into all the boss battles and how we try to go about them with certain fighters. At the end, we are going to show you our mod choices and why we chose them, along with a short video of the OP or mage. As we get into this full dungeon here, I'm just going to let you know that me, personally, I like my Rev, and Jim's heal is a little bit better than mine. I am trying to get my heal up to par, which should be pretty soon. And let's get into this first battle. So this first battle, like I said, Rev heal, 2 tanks. These first 2 battles are pretty easy. Never really have to worry. As we get into the second one, he obviously can throw 3, so he throws a Rev and a heal. In retrospect, I probably should have thrown a heal because he already had a Rev in there, because you do not need 2 Revs. As we get into this next one, most of the mods in these battles don't really matter. Me and Jim never really had a problem with them, other than the no resurrection, the no heal, and with the artifact ban one, me and him really have never lost against that one either. But the resurrection and no heal definitely can hurt you. For this battle, you see me do that little switch. I like to keep my Rev on the very end, because if one of the physical damage enemies get past my tank, or our tanks, they start hitting him, he goes down really fast because he doesn't have very good health. So that's why you see me do that little switch. On to our first mod choice. It is always good to go with a negative mod choice for Archer, because Archers really don't matter in this. So when we see an Archer one, me and him get excited, we always choose it. And then we always try to boost our mages up as best as possible. But with this one, we ended up doing physical damage for tanks, because you can't go wrong with that at all. This fifth battle coming up, we have no resurrection and no heal. So me and Jim were sitting here for a little bit trying to figure out what to do. We ended up using no mages, but in retrospect, you really couldn't. So we ended up killing this battle. We only lose one person, which is an archer. Like I said before, most of these mods don't matter. Like the crit of all fighters reduced to 30% or reduced 30%. It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't really affect it. As long as you have good health and your guy is pretty stacked, then you don't have to worry about it. So me and Jim end up losing 3 mages in this battle, which doesn't really matter. I lost my 1 heal, or I'm sorry, 2 heals, and Jim lost his orb. As you can see, we have Shorty popped up, but what we normally do is we go around, see both of the bosses, and then choose the weaker one. as this battle ends, I just want to say it's best to be around a person's same power. You want to be around the same power, otherwise these dungeons are just going to be incredibly hard for the lower power person. So for our first boss, we got Oculus. We usually go after him all the time, especially when Shorty is on the map. We always throw 2 melee, a rev, and a mage, and no heal. When you throw heals in, for some odd reason, Oculus likes to throw out a lot of minions, and it just becomes a bloodbath, and you end up losing 1 or 2 guys. As we get on to Shorty, I just want to say Ankh is very key for dungeon, especially against Shorty and Gatekeeper. You'll see why during the battle. But Shorty, what you want to do is just pretty much try to stay up as much as possible. So we have both our revs in there and just damage people. It's obviously better if you have heals in there because they can heal up everybody. As you see right there, that's the Ankh. It's Beast. Me and Jim are wondering if anybody has actually ever beaten Shorty. Highly doubt it, but it'd be funny if they did. And now we're going to go on to the rest of the boss battles. For this next battle, we have Beast. He can do a lot of AoE, so normally you want to throw A squad, which is normally for us melee, heal, rev, second heal. If you don't have a second heal, always throw an orb. For the next boss, we got Gotham King, another AoE. It's usually pretty easy, so we end up throwing our A squad. He can be hard though, can knock out some of your mages if you're not careful. For this next one, we got Vampire. Pretty simple. Usually you always want to just throw all your mages and archer and then throw in 1 melee to basically tank all the damage. We kind of messed up here. We don't know why we threw in 3, but still worked out. For this next one is Smoke. He's pretty easy. Me and Jim get pretty excited when we see him. Even if he is the first one, we'll end up bursting him. But what you want to throw in is your A squad with at least 1 archer for his meteor shower. If Smoke is up for more than 3 meteor showers, then he'll knock down your whole back line of mages. So it's always good to throw in an orb, so when he does get down to that 35% or under, he gets knocked out instantly. For this next one is Mistress. She was pretty hard at first, but once me and Jim figured it out, she was pretty easy. What we normally do is throw 3 melee in and pretty much our rev and heal. And an orb. Basically, you just want to hold off your minions, off your mages as much as possible. Let your mages do the work. For this next one, we got Supreme Mage. Pretty easy. All you ever want to do is throw in one tank each just to run them down, take that damage, and let your mages do the rest of the work. For this next one, we got Summoner, another AoE, one of the easier AoE bosses. We didn't typically just throw our A squad, kill them off pretty quickly. For this next boss, we got Gatekeeper. He's one of the harder ones, and I've seen everybody struggle with this one. Our method really hasn't let us down yet, so what we do is we throw no mages, basically because mage damage can heal him. So we end up throwing, all our tanks and archers in to basically kill him and hope for we kill him on the first match. If we don't, we end up throwing the orb in, especially if he's down below that 35% health. Luckily, we're able to kill him on this run. Didn't need to use the orb mage at all. For this next part, we're going to show you our mod choices and how we go about them. For this first one, it's pretty simple. We did a negative for Archer, which we chose dodge and boosted up our spell power. For this next one, we ended up choosing physical armor for mages, and then boosting up dodge for all, because mages really don't take on physical damage as much as, let's say, tanks. And dodge for all is kind of a no-brainer. For this next one, we ended up doing negative dodge for archers, and then boosting up physical armor for all. For this next one, it's no brainer. We kind of went with the negative effect for magic armor for archer, and then boosted up our mage damage for mages. This one we kind of had to decide on it, but we ended up doing fizz damage for archers and then magic damage for mages. Now we're going to show off the orb's killer trait. Always save an orb, so you can do this on the tougher bosses. BigJim and I, we always get a kick out of it for this insta-kill. It's just a good laugh. Thanks for watching. Give us a like if you found anything helpful. Also, comment below with some feedback, and if you would like us to cover anything else in future videos. Also, shout out to Jim for most of the editing, and Big D for commentary.